Welcome back to The Missing Piece. I'm your host, Jan, and this is episode number 17. Massive shout out to all our listeners. You are really helping the show grow, and we truly appreciate you. I will begin with a puzzle. What has a face, two hands, but has no arms or legs? Do you know the answer? Let's find out towards the end of the episode. So recently, when I look at content creation today, I just remember a few months back, we had the huge AI craze. We were seeing so many new types of AI coming up, and all these coming up AIs and every functionality that they attract and everything that they can do for you was actually quite interesting and exciting, because we were seeing AIs that can do complete assignments, AIs that can probably rewrite your code, your entire code, in whatever language you prefer, AIs that could even arguably replace most of our jobs to some extent. Now, there's always the fear of the unknown. There's always the fear of what will happen in the situation that the AIs or machines come to rule this world. Now, this is definitely food for thought. But the reason I in this episode I'm talking about leaning towards AIs and so on is I have been interacting with Bing Chat. It's amazing how Microsoft have integrated the Bing Chat with their AI, ChatGPT, I believe. I don't know which specific version. How they've integrated that into their browser, and how you're able to interact with it, how you're able to ask it various questions, and how sometimes you can even test if there's any morality behind this software and what it's truly limited to do. So when we think about AIs, when we think about artificial intelligence in full, we think about something that should, in essence, simplify our life, something that is here to help us, in various ways, something that is here to arguably enable us. And this brought me to a book I've been reading. And the book itself is called The Science of Fate: Why Your Future is More Predictable Than You Think. Most of us want to believe that we have a firm handle, that we have a firm belief that we can shape our own destiny. Just think for a minute. Do you think that you can actually shape your own destiny? Then, in this specific book, I think by Hannah, I don't remember the second name, there's the question of what if free will doesn't exist? What if our lives are largely predetermined and hardwired in our brains, and our choices over what we eat, who we are, even who we fall in love with, what we believe are not real choices at all? Neuroscience, in essence, according to this book, is quite challenging. It's challenging everything that we think we know about ourselves, revealing how we make decisions and form our own reality. And this is the reality that then we see the world through. Think about maybe wearing shades. Yes, you will obviously see the things with that tint. The tint could be of whatever color your shades are. So often then, according to the challenges, the questions being raised by neuroscience, we are largely unaware of the role of our unconscious minds. And for example, did you know that you can carry anxieties and phobias across generations in your family? And that's crazy to think that there are anxieties that you might have today and phobias that you might have today that essentially weren't your own. You merely inherited them. So your genes and pleasure and the reward receptors in your brain will essentially determine how much you eat, right? Or, for example, how we can sniff out our ideal partners with genes that give our offspring the chance of survival. Isn't it survival for the fittest? So when you look into this book, if you are fortunate enough to get a copy, leading neuroscientist Hannah, I forget the second name, vividly draws from everyday life and other experts in their field to show the extraordinary potential as well as the dangers, which will more often than not come with being able to predict our likely futures and looking at how we can alter what's in store for us. So then I'll go back to AI. that was quite an interesting, I think, conversation. When I go back to AI and think about it for a minute, is our future predictable? Since I think it was the third or second industrial revolution, when we had computer systems such as the abacus, and look at today, we have virtually a personal assistant in your phone, in your pocket. You tell it what you want to do, it gets things done. For example, if you have complete smart home kind of setup, you have a smart fridge, say a smart microwave that is connected to your internet, a washing machine, maybe your home theater and your television, even your gaming console. If all of that, say, is, for example, coming from one brand, or you have a home automation solution, you could tell your AI, personal assistant, to do this, and you just sit back and it all happens. So is our future predictable? Are we replacing ourselves? What comes of this revolution of AI? So in the next episode, I'll be exploring some of the funny questions and answers I've been getting by playing around with the Chat GPT on its own OpenAI portal. I would highly encourage you to go in there, create an account, play around with it. Ask some complex questions. Maybe ask it if it believes the Terminator will actually come to pass. And you'll find yourself with some very exciting answers from this specific AI tool. Today we have AIs, for example, when you think about, say, photography. You could take a picture of someone happy. I've seen this trending a lot actually on YouTube. It's quite a catchy video. They take a picture, half picture. The lower half is obviously shown beforehand. They take that picture, put it on the AI portal, half of it cropped out, then request the software to do an autocomplete. So what the software will, in essence, do, it will analyze what it has in that image. And believe it or not, it's miraculous enough that half the time it actually feels it so predictably well. It creates a completely new scene out of nothing. So does that mean then the software editor or the person who would ideally be required to do some videography, photography, and some after editing, does it mean that then their job is practically being replaced almost overnight by a software? Or, for example, today, most new mobile phones, Android, iPhone, or even I believe it's Harmony OS by Huawei, all these essentially have features such as autocorrect, auto-cropping, deleting an entire person or an entire object in the image and having an autofill functionality. So then what happens to the days where we had photography, in essence, being someone seated behind maybe a computer, a laptop, a design suit, and they take that photos 2-3 hours in, clean it up, do it, do all the final touches and prepare it for, maybe production or even having it in a public poster. What happens to that person today where you have an AI that can practically do maybe 90% of the work, and then you have human intervention coming in for the last mile editing and final touches? So that means essentially these are all people being replaced. So again, I think the real question here is our future might be more predictable than we think or than we're willing to accept. In the next episode as well, we will explore a little bit about this book. It's an exciting book. I will make sure to drop the link in the description for those who want to check it out. So back to our first puzzle. The answer is a clock. I will not repeat the puzzle. If you listen to the full episode, thank you very much and catch you on the next episode. Cheers.